Okay, here is my presentation on my final engagement project. So I went to the Humane Society to bathe dogs, so I titled it Bathing Homeless Dogs. So my problem statement, first impressions are important. As someone who's been volunteering at shelters for years, a lot of those dogs can look a little ratty, for lack of better words, and that can deter people from adopting because nobody wants a ratty looking dog. So having a clean, brushed dog that smells good just makes people more inclined to want to spend more time with that dog. Shelter overcrowding, low adoption rates, mental and physical well-being of shelter animals. So, especially during this time of the year, shelters are very overcrowded with the summer. Things are running away. People are traveling and don't want to deal with their animals as much. So they're giving them up. People are calling animals into the shelter. There's just a lot of animals in the shelter right now. There are low adoption rates because people are traveling, people have things to do. Nobody wants to take on a commitment that takes years. And then also the physical and well-being of shelter animals. Shelter animals do not get bathed very often because it's understaffed there. They do not have a lot of people there to just bathe animals all the time. And then these dogs are stressed out. They're in high pressure environments. They are surrounded by dogs 24/7. They're not getting time to just properly rest and recuperate by themselves. And shelters are underfunded and understaffed. So a lot of shelters rely solely on donations, especially the Warren County Humane Society. So they do not have a lot of funds to send dogs to groomers or hire people to come bathe these dogs and take care of them. And like I said, they are understaffed, so they don't have people on hand to just bathe dogs. They need people to clean up after them, feed them, and walk them, make sure they're getting properly cared for. Okay. The significance to me. So, clean, happy dogs have a better chance of being adopted. I already mentioned that a little bit previously in this presentation, but a dog that is clean tends to have a better attitude. Like, you would probably not feel too good if you haven't showered in months and you feel grimy and dirty. And then I am a regular volunteer at various humane societies for 6 years. I started when I was 13. That's the youngest at my local humane society, which is the Nelson County one. Would let volunteers start. My mom would accompany me and come with me. So I volunteered there at the Spencer County Humane Society and at Warren County. I'm currently a veterinary technician at the emergency clinic in Bowling Green. I'm also an employee at a grooming and boarding facility. So I see all sorts of dogs that, especially at my technician job, that are not getting properly groomed, have long nails, have matted coats. And then at the boarding facility and grooming facility, it's really just emphasized how much a good groomed dog can make people happy. Like you see people drop off their stinky dog that's overgrown. You give it back, they're happy, their dog's pretty, smells good, they're excited to see their happy, clean dog. And that kind of ties into our last point, the impact of a clean dog. A clean dog makes people happy, makes people want to interact with the dog, also just makes the dog feel better. All right, scope of the concern. So this is a national concern. There are dirty homeless dogs everywhere. There are shelters nationally. Sorry, my ferret is being a menace right now. Um, excuse me. This is a national concern. There are thousands of shelters um across the nation that need help like this. So my project personally had a local impact at the Bowling Green Warren County Humane Society, and my hope was to improve adoption potential for a small group of dogs. I knew I wouldn't be able to bathe every single dog that the Humane Society has, so I was just going to bathe whatever they'd let me bathe and hope that it made a difference. Excuse the noises, my ferret jumped onto my desk. So my plan. I called the Humane Society to make sure I could actually do this, and then I was planning to show up to the Humane Society. I've been there, I know the staff. It's going to start bathing dogs, and then hopefully I'd be able to watch the adoption rates increase. And then I was planning to share my before and after pictures to social media and then reflect on this project altogether. So, what actually happened? The bathing room was out of order for a really long time, until today, actually. So, I was not able to get in there until today to bathe dogs. And then Right now, the shelter is very overpopulated. So in this, I put warm weather equals overpopulated and understaffed shelter. I briefly mentioned that earlier, how the warm weather increases the rates of dogs in the shelter, and there aren't as many people to help out at the shelter. Not, I was not allowed to post the dogs on social media. I didn't know this before going into this project, but the Humane Society is very strict about who can post their animals onto their social medias because a lot of people will call into the Humane Society and lie saying that that was their dog that they own so that they can get out of paying the adoption fee. And I ended up bathing 2.5 dogs. We'll get into that. So, first dog is Coco. She is a pit bull mix, medium sized, and she was visibly grimy. Dirt just all over her back. So I forgot to take a before picture, but I did get a picture of her in the tub and then a picture of her all dry with a towel around her. She was an angel in the tub, very amazing for the bath. So pit bull mixes have lower adoption rates just because people are afraid of pit bulls due to the stereotype that they're aggressive dogs. Medium-sized dogs don't have as low adoption rates as the larger breeds, but still have lower adoption rates than the smaller breeds, just because it does take up a bit of space in your place. And then, like I said, she was visibly grimy, and nobody really wants to play with a dog that is covered in dirt and grime. So she got a bath before and after. She smelled all good, got lots of compliments from everyone there that she smelled so much better and just looked way better. She does look sad in the second picture, but that's because no dog likes the bath. Next, we had Maya. She is my half of a dog that I bathed because I did not bathe her. We attempted, but for her, my point, she's adorable. Everybody was like, this is the cutest dog I've ever seen. She has the heterochromia, so people love that. She's fairly clean. She's a white dog. She wasn't grimy at all. She was friendly to people, hated the bath. So I attempted to bathe her. She was not having it, jumped out of the tub multiple times. I discussed it with the staff. They were like, yeah, we don't want to stress Maya out. We don't want to hurt you. So let's just take Maya back. She'll be happier in the long run if she just doesn't get a bath today. And then Joseph, ginormous. He was so big. I think he was a German Shepherd mix, which again, lower adoption rates just because they're bigger, fluffy, a lot of hair. People don't want a lot of hair in their home. He was not a fan of the bath at all. He kept trying to jump out, but he was easier to manage than Maya. He eventually just sat down and I worked around it. And then he hates the shelter. Poor guy, I was trying to take him back to his kennel and he just sat at the door, would not move. We had to lure him with treats. He hates it there, and he's giant and he's fluffy, which makes him less likely to get adopted. So that's another reason I bathed Joseph, just because if you have a clean, fluffy, big dog that smells good, people see that in the shelter and they assume, oh, if the shelter can make the time and properly bathe and groom this dog, then I probably can too. Because shelters have they're underfunded and understaffed. So personally, I can bathe my dog if it's that easy for the shelter to do it. But he was very good and now he's clean. Those are the only dogs at the shelter allowed me to bathe just because they had a lot of puppies, which they don't let people touch. And they also had some older dogs that just weren't in great medical condition to be lifted and just endure the stress of a bath, especially those heartworm positive dogs. And then also they had some injured dogs, so there was just only a couple of dogs that I could deal with in the bath. So here are my conclusions. This project did not go to plan at all. I was going to post everything on social media. I was going to bathe numerous dogs and was planning to volunteer over a couple of weeks, but this did not happen just due to all the things that I told you about previously. I helped out as much as I could. While I only spent around 2 hours at the shelter today, that's all they needed me for. I walked some dogs and just did more than I initially came there for. So I didn't just bathe some, I walked some and all that. But I still made an impact and I would still consider this project a success because at the end of the day, I still made an impact. I helped out at the shelter, which I love it there. The staff was very very nice, and I would definitely recommend this to anyone who volunteers at the shelter. So yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Thank you. I'm trying to find the stop recording button. Um, where did it go? I lost my Zoom meeting. There we go. Okay, Zuko.